Motivation is critical for performance, so knowing where it comes from is crucial for each and every one of your clients. If you're a coach working with people on a one-to-one basis and working with them in teams, and you want to help them find a clear path to their goals, you want them to set better goals, you want to help them improve their performance, you want to help them do all of that with less stress and really be engaged in what they're doing and happy when they're doing it, then Motivational Maps really is the tool for you. Hi, my name is Sonia Gavira and I've been working as an executive and leadership coach for nearly 20 years now. And although I have a number of tools in my toolkit and I'm licensed to use a number of great tools, Motivational Maps really has become the tool of choice for me, the one that I recommend that all of my clients do. I've even started to use it as part of my intake session. In this second video, I want to show you how you can use the maps to really help your clients move forward, and I'll go through some examples. If you haven't seen the first video where I talk about what the maps are, where they come from and what they measure, then there's a link below this video where you can access that one too. In the next and final video in this series on motivational maps, I'll tell you how you can use them with teams and also tell you how you can become a licensed practitioner. So, how can you use the maps to really help your clients move forward? Let me take you through some examples. So, how to use motivational maps. They can be used at various levels. They can be used with individuals, they can be used with teams, and they can be used with organisations. And they can help you with a vast array of topics and things that I know we all work with. Some of us work more in one area than another. So I'm just going to concentrate on a few. I'm going to look at how the maps can help with individual performance, how they can help make better career choices, and how they can help with engagement. So the report looks like this. This is the front page, and as you can see, I've just shared one of my old reports that I did over a year ago. There's this page here which shows the current level of motivation, so it gives you a percentage, and it also looks at your top 3 motivators and how much you're getting of that type of motivation, and it gives it a score out of 10. Then there's this page which looks at all of the motivators in order, and we'll go through this in more detail. And then there are descriptions for your top 3 motivators with some ideas of how it might be affecting you, what you might need to be looking for, what would happen if you've got a high score in this area in terms of satisfaction, and what it would be if you've got a low score. And it looks at the top 3 motivators, and it also looks at your bottom one. And then at the end there's some space for you, if you're doing this, or your client, to look at the motivational map and write down what your goals are and what you're going to do about it and by when. So a bit of action planning really. So this is one of the first pieces, if you like, of the map that we go to, and as you can see, at the time when I did it over a year ago, my level of motivation was here at 79%. Now that is made up of the satisfaction score for my top 3 motivators. So those are the 3 that are on my radar and on most of our radars, and therefore it's important. My level of energy, how much in the zone I feel or in flow, is really dictated by those 3. So what this means, 79% is great. It means that I've got a high level of motivation at this stage. However, it's not quite in the optimal zone. Now, I describe this as the battery, if you like, of your laptop. There are two ways to use your laptop. You can either have it plugged in at the mains, which means you can completely forget about it because you know it's going to run perfectly all day. Or you can, as we all do with laptops, carry it around with you on a full battery. And as the day goes, that battery will start to run down. And if you're not careful and you don't notice, the little red light will come on, and then if you don't plug it in, it'll stop. So even at 79%, this for me is like I'm running on a full battery. So everything's working, everything's great. I'm spending time doing things that I love and that fill me and that drive me and motivate me. But there are one or two tweaks that I need to make in order to make sure that my battery doesn't run down. Then here are the motivator scores, all of my motivator scores at the time. And as you can see, my top one here is called 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐠𝐞𝐿, and 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐿 is about making a difference or having a purpose. And you can also see this line here of 30. So because it's above 30, this means that this is a really strong focus of mine. So if I don't feel that with the work that I'm doing, I'm making a difference, then things don't feel quite right. My next one is friend, and that's about belonging and creating community. And then I have spirit and creator, which are quite similar, and well, very similar. They're the same in terms of score, as is my director motivator. But if we just take the spirit and creator, but I'm obviously, in the way that I've answered the questionnaire, valuing spirit, which is about freedom and independence more. So, and right down the bottom is star. Now, star is about external recognition. It's about being in the limelight. It's not below 10 where you see that dotted orange line, which means that it's not something that demotivates me, being in the limelight and getting that external recognition, but it's definitely not why I do things, and it's definitely not what gets me up in the morning. So looking at the top three and the bottom one, there are ways in there to really help me, in this case, your client, when you're doing it with them, really improve their performance, really meet the goals that they have. And like with any tool, this isn't done in a vacuum. So you need to talk to your client about their goals, about what they want to achieve. And at the time that I did this, I had recently finished a really long project where I was an associate for a company but had huge independence and freedom, was very trusted by the people who owned the project. I was working in a project that was all about engagement and employee engagement in order to engage customers, which meant that I really was making a difference to people and to organisations, and that's what I felt. And not only to the clients that we were working with, but I also recruited and trained and put together a team of nearly 100 coaches, and all around Europe, and I also worked with coaches in other parts of the world. So that really fed my drive for building community and working with others. So I was on a real high, and I wouldn't have been surprised if I'd done this at the time, that all of those would have been at a 10. And I felt it in terms of my energy, in terms of my flow, in terms of my ability to make decisions, all of those things. Now, when that project finished, as you can see, my motivation is still high. However, I'm convinced that it's gone down. And at the time, my objective was really to, okay, I'm now on my own, and I wanted to really promote and sell myself and my own business and get my own clients. So I was at a stage where I was thinking, okay, well, I've had associate work and that work belongs to somebody else. And what would it be like to have work that belongs to me as well, and to readdress the balance there? So when I looked at this with my coach, in my head, I knew that I needed to promote myself, that I needed to get out there and talk about myself, my skills, what I could do, because that's how I would get out there and get that business. But as I've said, my star motivator, which is all about external recognition and being in the limelight, is right down here at the bottom. It's not demotivating, but it's definitely not what gets me up in the morning. However, in my head, I knew I needed to do this, but I just wasn't getting round to it because other things would pull my interest. So with my coach, what we worked on was how we could reframe this, how we could really engage my top motivators into doing what I needed to do. So what we did was a piece of reframing work. So it meant that putting myself out there, talking about myself, getting some photographs done, doing this type of video wasn't about getting the limelight, wasn't about putting myself out there and having my name recognized and people saying how well I was doing. It was about making more of a difference. So if I was able to put my ideas out there in a way that people heard them and saw them, then that would enable me to make more of a difference. It would also enable me to create community around my thoughts and my ideas. And that would secure my independence. Now, as soon as I started to think of the actual work that I needed to do to put myself out there in that way, it became much, much easier. So with your client, this may be something very similar. You might have to do something just like that to reframe it. If we're talking about career decisions, then it's a case of looking at this and saying, okay, whatever job you're going to, or maybe you're working with somebody who's not sure about what to do next, then look at the top 3 motivators. This person needs to know above all else that she's making a difference, that there is purpose. So this person would need to buy into the purpose, the why of the organisation and of the role. What are you there to do? It would also need to be a role where there was community, there was an opportunity to work with others, and maybe even to create that community. And finally, with spirit, if we just look at the top 3, then this person needs to know that they have a certain amount of autonomy and a certain amount of freedom and independence to either do things in their own way or take some risks. You can see that Defender, which is about security and safety, is quite low. So this person will be quite happy with change and quite happy taking risks. So that starts to build an idea of what the new role, what the new organisation needs to provide, needs to have in order for this person really to be engaged. And that leads me to engagement. Having worked for a number of years in engagement across the globe, one of the things that I really did feel was missing was the opportunity for people to take ownership of their own engagement. So in this instance, you can swap the word engagement for motivation. If every individual in the organisation has access to this information around what it is that really drives them, if they can then look at the team around them and work with those people to see what drives the team, then people can start to take responsibility for themselves, for doing things in a way that engages them, for doing things in a way that drives them, rather than simply answering questions about what they like and don't like where they're working. So that, in essence, is what I mean about individual performance, help with career choices, and engagement. So now you can see from the examples that I've shared how valuable the maps are going to be for both you as a coach and your clients. In the next video, I'm going to take you through how you can use motivational maps with teams, and I'm also going to give you the information that you need in order to become a licensed practitioner and start using the maps yourself. On the 15th of June at 7 o'clock in the evening UK time, I'm going to be holding a Q&A session so that I can answer any questions that you have on the maps and on becoming licensed as a practitioner. There's a link below this video along with the other links that I've mentioned where you can sign up for the call, and I'll send you all of the information. So look out for the next and final video in this series, where I will be taking you through how to use the maps with teams, and better still, there's a link below this video again where you can sign up, and I will give you an alert. I'll let you know when the next video is available. You can also get more information at discoveryourmotivationtoday.com, and I look forward to seeing you in the final video in this series.